And thank you for being such a personal inspiration. I would like to start off by showing you how to not make an Agile comic strip. Please don't make these types of comic strips.
It's inspirational.
So, moving on. Okay, so I was asked to do a closing keynote, right? And then what do? You ask ChatGPT, what the hell is a closing keynote? And so I asked ChatGPT, it says, reflect and synthesize, recap key themes and highlights. I just arrived. I don't know what the hell. I looked in the, so I'm not going to do that. Inspire, share motivating stories and insights. I'm going to do the opposite. Look ahead, trends, opportunities, challenges. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about AI. No? Create closure, memorable final moment or ritual. I don't even know what that means. Show gratitude, thanks organizers, speakers, audience. Thanks, Milena, for paying. Okay. Now we kind of got that out of the way. I know I'm the big block here. Before probably Robert's gonna talk a bit more, and then we have free cocktails. Anybody ready for free cocktails? Yeah. Not yet. Okay. So my mission in life, and I'm going to introduce myself, of course, is to introduce more humor into our work lives. Yeah. Do you need more humor in your work lives? Yeah. So I would like to turn ha-ha into aha. It's not my quote, don't shoot me, I didn't make the quote, but I couldn't figure out who it was either. So I'm just putting it out there. So learning through humor is really effective, isn't it? So let's talk about stuff that doesn't work by using humor. So that's my mission. And I'm going to use my clicker, which also works as a mouse. So this is me, which only works as a mouse. Okay, so this is me. This is me back when I was cool. I did like freestyle rapping, and I think Robert challenged me for a rap battle at the cocktail party. But let's look at how that's going to go, right? So this is me, based out of Denmark. So now you have this Indian-looking guy speaking English with a Danish accent. You're welcome. So I'm the writer. I have a partner, Mikkel, who draws the comic strips, and I write them because of my frustrations, just like Robert. So I'm an internal Agile coach, but I still do these talks and workshops and courses because it pays so much. Thank you, Milena. Thank you. But actually, my title, you know what it is? Did anyone watch Armin's talk right before? Yes. My title's actually Agile Delivery Lead. Wow. So now it's a cool title. Okay? So that's a coincidence, but that's my title. So I've been working last 15 years in these roles. As I reflect on them, not one of them is a real job, actually, but yeah. At least my education is kind of real. But unfortunately, I forgot everything about coding. So here I am. So my mission is to expose what happens when Agile meets reality, and I want to do that through humor. So this is the comic strip. We have around 106,000 followers on LinkedIn. Anyone following us? Yes. Wow. What about you? You don't? Now you can do it. So as you know, it's a big number. It equals around 106 million teenagers on TikTok, right? So it's a really big number. So made a couple of books, right? And clearly something is not working in this whole Agile space and this general software development space, right? Where we do like to work with Agile's ways of working, DevOps and so on. Some people also safe. Yeah, that's not fun, okay? So my mission is, let's talk about the mistakes. Let's talk about the stuff that doesn't work. I do it through comic strips, but you can do it any way you want. But please talk about it, right? So we can learn from them. So yeah, the approach we take here is making people laugh, hopefully make them reflect, then ideally make them improve. And this is what we're going to also do tomorrow at my workshop at 9 o'clock. Yeah, so if you want, I'm going to plug that a bit, right? So if you have time tomorrow, you can still sign up. I don't know where it is, but what? TikTok's headquarters. Millions of people are going to come. Okay, TikTok. Okay, so here's a boss, right? Here's a boss talk, and I'm going to do two things you're never supposed to do. I'm going to read off of the screen because I don't remember these texts. Okay, so I'm going to read them off, and then I use a font called Comic Sans. Comic Sans. Yeah. And I'm sorry. Okay, but it's okay if you're a school teacher or you make comic strip, you can use that font. Okay? So here's a boss talking to the company. I have good news for you. Now is the time for us to become agile and embark on our agile journey. Okay, so one of the developers asked, we've been asking for this for years. What has changed? I managed to convince executive management that once we become agile, we can finally start delivering the projects within initially agreed budget, timeline, and scope. That ain't gonna happen, right? What do we call this? These three together, what do we call it? Yes, the iron triangle, or yes, this one, right? So the thing is, we put in some numbers, someone puts in some numbers, but they're never going to hold. Something is going to break. So what we want to do in Agile is adjust the scope, right? Through transparency and so on, we want to adjust the scope, so we still meet the budget and the deadline. But what ends up actually being adjusted is this, right? It's the quality, yeah? We're not supposed to adjust that. We're supposed to adjust the scope. But we'll get back to that. So when does it make sense to work agile? It doesn't always make sense, does it? I have made a very scientific graph. This represents the level of knowledge one has throughout a product development effort or a project. And this one represents the number of decisions someone expects us to make over time. So for some reason, when we start something new, someone with a budget expects us to make decisions at the point we're stupidest, right? What's the scope? What's the estimate? How are we going to implement? What technology are we going to use? How are we going to do it? It's new stuff, right? If we were doing like conveyor belt stuff, the knowledge level would be just stable all the way. But we're doing development, so we learn every day, right? We learn every day, right? Yes. Okay, so any decisions we make here are based on illusions, right? This is when we know the least. So what we want to do with the Agile way of working, as most of you hopefully know, is that we want to get the knowledge level up faster, right? Through feedback loops, reviews, pair programming or peer review, and all this stuff, right? And then we want to postpone the decisions we don't have to make now, but when we have more knowledge about it, we can make those decisions. That's a very cool camera, actually. Yeah. So like evolutionary architecture, having a prioritized backlog, and so on, right? So those are the two things we want to do with working Agile. We're not working Agile just to be Agile, but to have some sort of effect. And this is, in my view, what we should try to solve. But no matter what company you ask, they're running some sort of Scrum. There's a Scrum team somewhere in all companies. And the Scrum cycle and the daily cycle, then out comes an increment. Like a product increment, an increment. Everybody say increment? Increment. And this sounds awfully close to the word excrement, right? So I don't know why it sounds so. Yeah, so a lot of increments come out, but we're supposed to ship them, right? So somebody can adopt them, potentially shippable. But for some reason, we don't really ship them, but they go together and become like a big increment, right? And a big increment, a huge increment, and it's like a big piece of shit, right? It's like... So the idea is we can't get feedback before all of this is released, and this is not the purpose. So many companies run Scrum, right? As you know, Zombie Scrum, or whatever you want to call it, inside a big framework, a Prince2 framework. And this is one of the reasons that I can make so many comic strips. So let's look at some of these comic strips, okay? Ready for comic strips? Yes. I already showed you comic strips, Okay, so we're going to talk about different themes here, right? We're going to talk about the middle manager. Any middle managers here, like people manager, line manager? Come on, show yourself. None of them are. None of them are smiling, but they're raising their hand. Then we're going to talk about Scrum Masters. Any Scrum Masters or Agile coaches? Scrum Masters are Agile coaches, right? And Agile coaches don't do shit, so. Okay, any product owners or product managers? Yeah, good. Developers? Yes. People doing real work? What? At this conference? What? Okay, any architects? Yeah. Always in the back. Oh, you new architect or? Yeah, that's why you're sitting up front here. Yeah. You're not sitting back there making PowerPoints about stuff that doesn't work anyways. And then scaling. Anyone working in a scaled environment like Safe or Less or Spotify or something? Yeah. I'm very sorry for you. So what's the next thing that happens after the boss has said, oh, let's go Agile? This boss, right, he buys a lot of boxes of I Love Scrum t-shirts. And it's, of course, it's one size fits all, right? You come back from a summer holiday, you went skiing in the Alps in Austria, and then you come back, right? And then he just bought all of these boxes. And they're a bit tight, not just on me. Even on Robert, right? Pretty tight. But they're one size fits all. And one of them even say, or some of them say, I love Safe. And they don't have the cut for the heads. I don't know what's... Anyways. And then the next thing they do is they hire external consultants. Anyone here working as external Agile consultants? Yeah. I'm gonna get you. Any one of you? I was one myself. Okay. So they hire Agile consultants, Agile BS. We're with the consultancy firm Agile BS, and here's our plan for your Agile transformation. And Agile BS, of course, stands for Agile Business Solutions. Okay? Business Solutions. So they have a plan. First, to really understand your organization, we'll observe and analyze your department for some time. Based on the analysis, we'll design and describe the transformation effort. Following, we'll implement the new Agile processes. Lastly, we'll test how the transformation works and integrate it with current processes across the organization. We expect the full transformation to take a couple of years. So that's how you go Agile, right? It's kind of stupid going Agile through a waterfall plan, isn't it? But you have to remember what these guys are motivated by. They want to sell big transformations and changes and buckets of hours, right? That's what they make money out of. And if they can make a plan like this, the sponsor can recognize this as something similar that he or she has seen before, so they'll buy it, right? But what you should do instead is, of course, take an Agile approach to any change you want to make, right? Even going Agile or implementing DevOps or whatever scaling, try it out with a product on one team or a product area or a value stream and see if that works before spreading it, right? This is pretty big bang. Some frameworks even have their own implementation roadmaps, which kind of look like a waterfall turned into a snake. Yes. Those who know. Okay. So here's another manager. I really believe in empowering you guys as a Scrum team, and I fully support you in self-organizing. Oh! I don't know why that one came. Okay, so don't ask me how to do things, he continues. I completely trust you all to make the right decisions in your daily work. But since you don't really understand our architectural discussions and technical dilemmas, how would you make those decisions anyways? The developer asks. I haven't told the punchline yet. Kind of ruined it for me. Thought I had problems with the PowerPoint. Okay. So developer asks. So if you don't know all this, how can you make those decisions anyways? Come with me, Diego. I just made a decision I can make. You're lucky they still left. Okay. So just a sec. So the thing is, this one is very loose. Where is it? The thing is, teams will make the technical decision making, right? But what we want managers to pass on, yeah. And if not, I can use the handheld. Can I use the handheld? Yeah, let me do that. It's more like a rapper. Yes, let's do that.
But can you handle a mouse in one hand and a microphone in the other?
Oh, I don't know. It's not a mouse. Can you help me? Yes. Yo, can you hear me? Let's do this. So the thing we want here is that we don't want managers just to pass on technical decision making because they don't have that knowledge anyways. Right? What we want them to pass on is the non-technical decision making, like really prioritizing, like really managing conflicts, going across silos to remove impediments. That's the kind of stuff we want them to empower the teams with, if the teams are ready. Here's another manager. Come on, team, work faster, she says. Can I have a word with you, the Agile coach says. When we work Agile, we don't pressure our teams to run faster. It's not sustainable, motivational, nor the management approach that we want. Okay? Instead, we want to deliver more value frequently to the customer. Come on, team, add more value. Yeah. So it doesn't, just because you look busy, doesn't mean that you're actually adding value, right? So, for instance, utilization. Anyone working with utilization, not filling up your full capacity with commitments? No? Okay. So don't fill up more than 70% of your velocity capacity with commitments, because then when something unforeseen happens, and this is going to happen, then everything clogs up, right? Everything blocks. So it's about understanding that mindset as well. And talking about innovation and doing things new ways. Here's a manager talking to a big manager. We need to innovate our technology, he says. The big manager says, yes, agree, let's do it. Here's the money. Right? Then the manager says, we need to innovate our management style. Yeah. So, why is that so difficult, right? That's the root cause of all this Agile stuff not working. Management not really understanding the changes they need to make. Okay, but they will tell you, my door is always open. Have you heard? Has anyone heard this? My door is always open. Yeah, you heard it. You heard it. Then you become an architect. Okay, so okay. But they say that, right? But getting to the door is just, how do you get to the door? I don't know how you get to the door. But let's remember that these guys, especially middle managers, they're in a predicament, right? On one hand, they have the big boss saying, get in control. And then on the other hand, you have the team saying, empower us. So who's going to shoot first? I don't know. Maybe he's going to shoot himself. I don't have the answer for this. If I had the answer, I would be very rich. And I'm not very rich. But still, thank you, Milena. Thank you. Still, I appreciate every euro is, yeah, good. Okay. So how can we help management? Coach management on the actual mechanics and benefits of going Agile. Right? Many managers don't even care about Agile, right? But coach them or understand or educate them on the effects of it. It's still just a means to an end, right? Agree with management on what empowerment means. What does it mean all the way down to a team level? Who manages conflicts? Is it like a line manager or is it actually a scrum master? Who is it? Have that talk. I think it could be different from team to team. Talk about the responsibility split between management and Agile roles. Like a PO, can a PO really prioritize? Do they have the financial responsibility as well or not? Have that talk. I don't have the answer. And believe it or not, management are actually here to help. I don't know what that means. I just put it in if there are any middle managers here, especially from Tech Talk or something like that. Okay, let's talk a bit about Scrum Masters. How many Scrum Masters, Agile coaches here? Yes. Yeah, wow, there are more now than 10 minutes. They come out of anywhere, right? Oh, now we have 10 Scrum Masters. Wow, we only have 8 teams. Okay, so what happens when a company gets Scrum Masters? It's when they're going Agile, right? They take all the project managers. Do we have any project managers? Yeah? 2? Why are you holding hands? I don't... Okay. Okay, so they take all the project managers, put them into a room, And then they say, okay, dear project managers, we're going to work agile, so we don't have project managers anymore. So who of you like products and who like people? And then the ones who say products, of course, they become product owners. And the ones who think they like people, they become Scrum Masters. And yeah. And then this happens, right? Here's a new Scrum Master with the team. As the start of our Scrum journey, we'll kick off today with this new morning meeting called the Daily Scrum. John, why don't you start? And John, he's tried it before, right? So he says, okay, so as our sprint goal is to create a service for retrieving historical data, I'm setting up a microservice template, but I'm a bit stuck because wait. Scrum Master stops him. I would like you to share how many hours you spent on that story so far and how many hours are remaining. John says, I don't think we're supposed to. Don't worry, as long as we're standing up, we're doing it right. Okay. You don't have to stand up if you don't want. The purpose of this daily Scrum session is to inspect your plan towards your goal. Right? So we expect something at all Scrum events. At this one, it's the plan towards the sprint goal. The review is the product, and the retrospective is the process, of course, right? So it's actually your plan. Has something come up so you cannot work towards your sprint goal anymore? Does something need to be changed? That's what you're supposed to talk about. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to ask those 3 questions anymore, right? You can do like liberating structures, do a rain dance, as long as you inspect it. Here's a new manager and a Scrum Master. Congrats with your new Scrum Master certification. How's it going with your team? Pretty good, actually, she says. Even though we never have a sprint goal, the PO doesn't want sprint reviews and the developers hate doing sprint retrospectives. I really feel we're getting into the agile spirit. Okay, so what are you doing? We agreed to call it Kanban. Who's running Kanban? No, you're not. You just have a board. Who are you trying to fool? Okay, so the thing is, Kanban is very powerful, right? If you have a very dynamic surrounding, if you really need to be agile, you can't even lock down your scope for 2 weeks, then it could make sense running Kanban. If it makes sense to one size your work, look at flow and all these things, then it makes sense. But don't just do Kanban because Scrum is difficult. Right? There's a reason Scrum is difficult. Try to fix that. That's what will actually make you adaptable and agile, right? But to be able to navigate this, maybe you know this one. To be able to navigate all of this, we need a seasoned Scrum Master, right? Someone who's tried it before. He's been places, right? He even has a tattoo and he smokes. A senior guy. But what type of Scrum Master is it? Yeah, could you share that with the rest of the class, please? Okay. Sounded like a very fun joke. You are this one? But you know what type of Scrum Masters your management actually hires? This one. Okay? So I'm not sure which one you are. But the other one doesn't interrupt keynote speakers, okay? So, you can buy me a free cocktail later. Okay, so, but this is the Scrum Master that management actually hires because they think it's just about calling in for meetings, right? It's much more than that. I don't need to preach to the choir. Is it called choir? But you wouldn't know. You speak Irish. It is choir. Okay, choir. It's about talking about these different stances, right? There's coaching, mentoring, and all this stuff. It's much more than just facilitating. And even facilitating is difficult when you have 6 grumpy old men in the team, right? But then when you get good at this, you can go to a job interview to become an agile coach. Yes? And then the hiring manager says, yeah, we really want to become an agile organization. The agile coach says, and I have successfully transformed several organizations. But the real question is, who's the biggest liar? I've been lots of places like this, and I've never done that. So somebody's lying here, right? And then maybe you saw this one. You know how to torture an agile coach. You might have seen this outside because they printed it and kind of ruined my joke. Thank you for that, Melina. Thank you. But anyways, if you want to really torture an agile coach, do this. Let it sink in. You rip it. You peel it downwards. Okay, downwards. Don't peel it like that. Make it curl. If anyone does that at my workshop tomorrow, I'm gonna cry. Okay. So also in the what was it in Gonjo's talk? Are you here? That wasn't you. There was a man. Oh, he talked about this Agile Alliance and PMI joining. Has anyone heard about it? Oh, where is he? Gonjo. How do you say it?
It's fine.
Goiko.
I'm Gojo now. That's fine.
You are whatever I say you are, right? Okay. So Goijo, you know how Robert butchered my name, okay? No, you didn't. Okay, so they joined. So two agile people talking. This is becoming very internal. I can see. So Agile Alliance and PMI joining forces is a match made in heaven. Oh, why? Because they're both dead. Okay. You sure you get it? Dead, heaven, yeah, okay. Cool. I never tried that live, actually. I'm happy you get it. Or pretend to get it. Okay, so how can we help Scrum Master? Well, educate your organization these different stances that I talked about, right? You know the different stances. I think there are 7 now, or 6. Used to be 8. Are you going to tell me there's 15 minutes left? Okay, I have the slides I have.
You be you, I'll be me.
Yes. Empower and urge Scrum Masters to look beyond their own team. As you heard, Scrum Masters are evolving into Agile coaches, Agile delivery leads, and so on. But I think the important part is looking beyond the team, because if we have mature Scrum Masters who are allowed to do this, we don't also need Agile coaches. Let's not get rid of Scrum Masters, let's get rid of Agile coaches. Oh, okay, sorry. They don't do anything anyways. Okay. Agree with your line management or people managers how to split the people/team development responsibilities. Depending on how the culture and organizational setup is in your company, line managers don't know what's going on. Right? Scrum Masters usually do. So figure out how you can do that split. I tried places where line managers' most important role is enabling Scrum Masters to actually be this type of Scrum Master. People who have one-to-ones and develop people and the team. And then the line managers actually take the battles, yeah, organizationally. So let's talk a bit about developers, yeah? You know, here's an Agile coach talking to a lot of people. We use Agile ways of working to break our functional silos through cross-functional teams where everyone collaborates towards a common team goal. And then you look at the team and it looks like this. That's silos. Okay. So the thing is, it's totally okay to be an expert. Of course, we're all experts in our own areas, but we need to build our T profile. I focus on building the T profile so we can actually collaborate. So it would be very nice for backenders to also know a bit about databases and front end, and for maybe front enders to also know a bit about backend and UX and so on and so on. But it's as if the Agile roles are the biggest silos there are. Why don't we know other things than just Agile stuff? Right? So maybe we should start looking at ourselves as well. Yeah, maybe. So here's the manager talking to the team. So there's this epic that we need you guys to deliver. Cool. We'll look into it in our next refinement session, the PO says. A bit later, we estimated the epic to be a total of 21 story points. Manager says, I didn't ask you to estimate it. It's already been estimated by others a year ago. Well, their estimate isn't valid for our team. Only the ones who'll do the work should estimate it. And they continue. The manager says, I don't care about principles. You have a budget of 80 hours to deliver the epic. But that's definitely not enough for us. Just create a bit of technical debt. And that's a little trick up the sleeve, right? If you can't meet the budget, just create some technical debt, and then your products will look like this. But the PO is happy, right? He's getting what he wants. He gets the shiny radars, but the developers are fighting to keep the boat afloat, right? And this is a very popular visualization that many companies actually, I heard, use to visualize the concept of technical debt. But the point is, we need to build it in. We build in quality from the start, right? Technical debt is a conscious choice to make, but nobody wants to pay for paying it back, right? So that's the problem. And then we have all these legacy systems, right? We just want to trim it a little bit, right? We just want to trim it a little bit, and then then something happens when we trim it. So here's the team, they're very happy. Like, I'm so happy that both management and our customers understand the importance of working agile when our domain is so complex. And the product owner agrees. Yes, moving away from the enormous requirement specification phase up front has really helped us adapt as we get wiser. Here comes the architect, Alan. Hi, guys. Hi, Alan. Where you been the last couple of weeks? At home, make our target architecture here. So the problem here is that we agree that the business requirements should not be waterfalled. They come as we learn and do discovery and so on. But for some reason, we expect these architects to know the truth, the technical truth. You agree? Yes. Don't cry. Come on. Sorry. I'm just. But they don't know the truth, right? They are also. It's also illusions based on the curve. They're on the curve as well with the rest of us. So let's not expect them to come with the truth, but be pretty high level on whatever principles they make and look into this evolutionary architecture, right? Talking about being high level, you know where architects live, right? They live here. We have the teams in the bottom. Then we have the architect up here in the ivory tower, totally disconnected from real life. Especially if you're like a really good architect, if you're really good at PowerPoint, right? Then you become an enterprise architect. And then, then all hope is lost. You're not an enterprise architect, right? You are? I feel bad now. The thing is, we would like them to engage with the teams, right? Do stuff with the teams. And I think I need to speed up now. I'm going to skip this. How can we help the developers? Blah, 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 blah. Screw the developers. No. Make it pragmatic. Make it pragmatic. Make it pragmatic. Look into DevOps, for instance. I think that's a very good way of bridging the agile principles and technical practice, where your products will also increase their quality, hopefully, and technical excellence will be something you focus on. So for me, DevOps has been a very good way of bridging these two worlds. Let's talk about the product owner a bit. As you can see, he's very happy, like product owners are, because they're a solution to a symptom. We have this huge gap between the business and IT, and we put in a product owner. They're going to magically fix it, right? Magic bridge. And the way it usually starts is there's some manager saying, I want you to work on this. And the team says, it's not really agile for a manager to tell us what to work on. Then he comes back a bit later. I want you to work on this right away. Anyone seen a manager get a PO hat? Yeah. So being a PO is a full-time job, right? You can't do that while also being a manager. It will be really difficult doing both jobs, in my experience. It's about looking outwards towards the market and pains and needs, and also looking inwards towards the team, right? So it's a full-time job. And sometimes the PO comes from the business side and not from the technical side, which gives us other challenges. Here's the team. It's so great to have someone from the business take up the PO role. I'm also happy, the PO says, to get closer to you guys. It's all about bridging the gap between the business and you engineers so we can become one team. Great, let's get started, the Scrum Master says. I have a question, the developer says. Should we prepare our backend for future vertical scaling, or should our focus rather be on normalizing the data for improving the performance? Yeah, and we're missing some non-functional requirements. And what the PO from the business hears is, yeah. Yeah. That's not the PO's fault, right? We need the developers to speak human language. So what does this mean for the experience of the product, right? If the non-functional requirements are not met, that's what we need them to tell us. So here's a team member talking to another PO. It seems that we can only deliver one of the 2 stories we expected this sprint. Should we just follow the backlog priority and take the top one? And the PO says, let me get back to you on that. Then he talks to his boss. Should we prioritize this story or that story? Let me get back to you on that. Then he talks to his boss. Should we prioritize this story? What's the story? What story? It was like, what are we, kindergarten? And then the PO goes back. No, please take the next one in the backlog. Okay, developer says, okay, how come? Let me get back to you on that. Okay, so I was a PO as well for some years, and this was a really big challenge when you're not empowered. That's one challenge, right? And we all know POs are not sufficiently empowered. That's just a global phenomenon, right? But there's also another challenge. Here's a customer, a client, or user talking to the PO. So, could you add a view of the historical performance to the application? Great suggestion. Let me talk to my immediate internal stakeholder group and get back to you. And then you, as a PO, go to your internal immediate stakeholder group. Yeah. It's galactically big, isn't it? See what I did there, Robert? Yeah, galactically big. Yeah, okay. So the thing is, not all of these stakeholders are as important as they think they are. Okay? So you can do different things like a power benefit matrix and try to categorize the ones that are actually important and involve them often. Is it okay if I go like 5 minutes past my time? Thank you. That was the right answer. Okay. Yeah. I'm the last, right? What I thought was the most fun part of being a PO is this. Product discovery, gazing into the sky, finding out what pains to solve, what to deliver, what new features and stuff to do. But sometimes product discovery for product owners in real life look a bit like this. Yeah, and that's just real life, especially if you're more in a public sector. But the key is making it as high level as possible, right? Don't lock the iron triangle in the requirements. I know you need some sort of requirements, but make it as high level as possible, please. So how can we help our POs? Educate non-technical POs on the concept of technical debt, right? It's pretty obvious. Allow POs time to think strategically. POs are so busy. They have so many stakeholders, including the team. They don't have time to think about where to move the product. Allow them time somehow to think strategically and make it possible to say no. You know that the most important thing a PO can say is no, right? Because that is what allows the team to focus. But if they say yes, they need to take something out, right? So if you say yes to something, you need to say no to something else. Yes? We need to talk a bit about scaling before I stop, okay? It's for my own sake. So here's an internal Agile coach talking to a group of managers. Based on my observations, interviews, and metadata from deployment pipelines from numerous teams, I strongly suggest that we invest in removing our dependencies to accelerate our team's delivery of value. Managers say, you're too ideological. That might work in theory, but this is real life. Yeah? Then an external Agile coach comes. You have many dependencies. You need save. Take our money. And he really looks like a consultant, right? The thing is, we don't want to treat symptoms, right? If we have dependencies, figure out why you have dependencies and what you can do to remove them or reduce them or break them somehow. It's much better to invest in that, into managing it. If you do want to manage it and visualize it, use the visualization to reduce them, right? But the difficult part is breaking the dependencies. It could be because of the architecture, Conway's law, it could be because of competencies or organization or whatever it is, something difficult that one team cannot fix. But at least invest your energy in that instead of spending 2 days planning. Come on, guys. Okay, there's value in PI planning. Just focus on reducing dependencies. That's what will make you agile. So I was an RT as well, right? And this is, sorry, this is how I felt. PI planning is really great. It gets all the teams together and we'll be able to map dependencies between the teams on a program board. Then a bit later, how's the planning going? And the team says, pretty good. It's so great to align all the dependencies. We've been needing this overview for ages. They look at the overview. What? Yeah. Okay, it's not that fun. But this is how it literally looked. My first PI planning. This is how it looked. It's a great, visualization that you get, but you need to focus on reducing them, of course, right? Much easier said than done, but still do it. And how agile is it to be a train? An agile, I don't know. But it's so easy to stab at safe, isn't it? But the thing is, it's our own fault, right? If we lay down the architectural runway and the roadmap and so on, all the way into 5 years into the future, then it's your own fault if you cannot adjust, right? So roadmap is only committed to the next PI. You only commit to the next PI, right? So you're able to change direction, right? So you can try to do it. Don't lay down commitments for the next year. If you can do that, don't work agile, right? Use sprints too. So I don't know if you guys noticed this, but here's two agile coaches. Did you see that the SAFe website and knowledge base are now hidden behind a paywall? Did you see that? Yeah, it's not really in the agile spirit, is it? Now not many people will have access to their articles and guides on how to do things. You liked that one, didn't you? So how can we help if we're in a scaled setup? What can we do? Well, think about this as a temporary way of working. You're doing this to visualize some symptoms that you hopefully fix, going back to some sort of descaled setup. I cannot speak for all companies, right? But there's a lot of overhead in working scaled, which it might be more effective and efficient to not scale. But that's up to you to figure out. Focus on removing dependencies between teams and continuously assess and inspect and adapt once per PI. Try to quantify the benefits versus the overhead. Having an RTE, having a program backlog, having PI planning, all this stuff. Does it really still outweigh the benefits of having it? Have that discussion. And I'm getting to the end now. Here are managers looking down at the very happy employees down here, right? It's great how our investment in working agile has paid off. Yes, it has really brought the business and IT together. Look at how close they are now. We look at the happy employees and... yeah, I don't know. Sometimes through the glass it looks different, right? And then the boss asks, when can we consider our agile transformation done? Well, the agile coach says, that's difficult to say because we're never really finished. Yeah, our teams and organization will continuously be improving themselves. I'm sure you can figure out a way to answer this question. And it needs to be backed by data. Okay, a bit later. So they're back now with an answer. So we think that our agile transformation can be considered a success when? Yeah, don't worry about it. I figured out when it's done. Really, when? When the transformation budget runs out. Back to Agile BS Consulting. So let's remember, using whatever method we have, using Scrum to become agile, Kanban, SAFe, whatever, it's a bit like using a scale to lose weight. And try that, okay? It's just going to show you how it goes. It's not going to make you agile. It's just going to show you how many blocked tasks you have. So it's actually removing the reason you have these dependencies and blocked tasks and so on. That's what's going to make you agile and adaptable. It's actually, I guess, eating less and running or something like that. It's going to make you lose weight, right? So Scrum is a mirror. And the final words. In my opinion, the key to successfully making any change, which could be an agile transformation or acceleration, is talking about what's not working, what is going wrong, right? Use humor to do that, if you're allowed to do that. I don't know if it works. I've never been to this part of Germany before, so I don't know if it works. So, okay. Oh, sorry. Great way to stop the presentation. Okay. That was a joke. Okay. Not much psychological safety here. So humor can help build psychological safety as well, right? In your team and the rest of the organization, which will make it easier to experiment, which is what we want to do, right? We don't know the answers, we want to experiment hypotheses, and so on, right? You will be making mistakes, but talk about them and laugh at them, and then you can learn from them. I started making comic strips with my partner Mikkel, because I was very frustrated as an RTE. Right? So we started using humor to talk about what doesn't work, and I actually talked about the RTE role, which I had, how that doesn't add any value, and all this stuff with the dependency, the process doesn't work, which actually had us talk about how to fix it. So that's what I want you guys to do. And if you want to try this, join me tomorrow at the big headquarters of Tech Talk at 9 o'clock. Yeah? So you need to go home early today, where we make comic strips together. Thank you for your attention, and see you at the after party.